What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Popcorn Punchups, the only podcast you need to see Reimann's amazing picks and Lawson's art house shenanigans.
Amazing picks. Well, I mean, look, the score is currently 3-2, so you've had a better fight, or we didn't really name these things. Are they fights? Are they rounds? I don't know.
We'll call them rounds. No,
and then what's each week? Each week is a round. No, these are fights.
It's a game. They are.
Yeah, these are fights. You're 0-2. Yeah, that makes sense. And then these are rounds. So we're on to round 6. Speaking of 6, I'm not well. I'm sick.
We've had to segue.
We've had to delay by a little bit to give me time to have some sort of voice. But if I get too animated, it's going to cut out. So get ready for me to as we go along.
Lawson gets the man flu, and then he gets sick.
Yeah, I do man flu.
Yep. I just ignore it and just pretend that I'm not sick and try and do whatever I want.
Yep.
Fun times.
I'm now realizing that my hoodie has green in it, so sorry for the edit because I'm definitely got holes in my clothing.
I'll tell my editor.
Yeah, so. I'll pass it on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you've been sick. You worked at Avcon, though.
I did 2 full days at Avcon.
He told me, so.
yeah. I did a. Fuck, I'm trying to figure out the hours. A 15-hour day and a 10-hour day. So they were big, but it was a lot of fun. Even though I was not well, I had a lot of good times. Ran into a lot of students, a lot of ex-students, caught a lot of people. It was really nice. I had a fun time. But happy to be home.
Interesting.
Cool. What have you been doing?
Cool.
The same old?
Yeah, I'm now on school holidays, and I have been trying to achieve my goal of hitting Grandmaster before the season ends.
Yeah. What are you doing now?
I was in Diamond 1, and a little bit further, a little bit down than where I was.
Yeah.
I may have D-ranked today, and we're now Plat 1.
Oh, you're back into Plat. Oh, that's awful. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. We'll climb tonight.
Sure. Oh, it's Tuesday.
Fun.
Yeah. I may be able to play. See how I'm feeling.
Yeah, you can jump on. You don't have to be in comms. You don't have to talk. You can rage. We can ping. But yeah, not much the movie news front, but it is building up. July is a very, very big month. Just before we get into what's coming out in July, there is one that is currently out, and the opening box office has now hit $318 million for the opening weekend. Can you guess what it is?
What's come out recently? I'm going to say Jurassic Park.
That's it. Yeah.
Based on this.
That's my dinosaur. That's Jurassic World Rebirth is roars its way to monster 318 million opening weekend. So that's pretty
crazy.
And I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're showcasing like Scarlett Johansson and the trailer actually looks good and you feel like you're actually showing like the dinosaurs people want to see, I feel like it's going to do well.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Well, well, it is. So,
is F1 doing well? I've heard a lot of people talking about it.
I think it's doing well for people that like F1, but I don't think it's doing as well as what they were sort of hoping.
I've got a friend who works in gold class. Like, he primarily works in gold class, like bar and serving. And he's like, it's just gone crazy. All the dads love F1, the dads love gold class. It's just been real busy, but I'm guessing, I don't know how it's been elsewhere. Smurfs is out too. The next decade of Smurfs. Mm-hmm. Every decade they bring out a new Smurfs for some fucking reason, trying to like reignite.
It's just easy.
Yeah, I know.
Easy and merchandise, because you just put out the merchandise of the toys and away you go.
Yes.
Very, very easy. Also, speaking of merchandise, old Disney have put out it's been a bit of an interesting ride. I was following a few TikToks about it. Was it ELO, the newest Disney movie? Helio, yeah, which is apparently the worst showcasing of Disney's films ever. Apparently
they had a cry.
Heavily.
They had a cry. They're like, oh, you guys keep wanting original stories and then no one goes and watches them. Well, it's not the fact that it's original story. It's the fact that we don't give a fuck about this story. It's lame.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just, for some reason, you're not winning the crowd back by doing all these live action remakes that no one asked for, and you're doing them poorly, and then you're bringing new IPs that no one sort of asked for. Like I don't know. We just want the same wholeheartedness, feel good sort of Disney stories. More grounded. Like look at the success and how much people have been talking. I don't know how much. I haven't seen the numbers success wise, but a lot of discussion I've heard around win or lose. It's grounded, but there's levels of fantasy to it rather than like a boy and his alien going crazy. Like I think that their stories work best when it's, themes I'm sure they're themes that we get along with, but I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I don't have much an opinion on it, but yeah, I don't know. But the last bit of movie news before we get into the absolutely big showcasing that is July. You remember the remake that is now coming starring Liam Neeson, which is the Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Yep, we're going full circle and we are bringing back Pamela Anderson is coming in to the Naked Gun. Because originally... Really? Yeah, she nearly starred in the original trilogy of the Naked Guns.
Is that right?
That they almost...
There you go.
And now they're going to bring her into it. It's kind of cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
She plays Beth, a nightclub singer. Brings her full circle. She was considered for the role. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, good on her.
Yeah, well, I've been impressed with her since her return.
Oh, for sure. I like what she stands for at the moment. Like, just, she's very like women for women and not wearing makeup to red carpets and stuff. I think she's making good strides in like public feminism.
Yep.
So yeah, good on her.
So you ready for the July release? You ready?
Is it Fusion coming? All right, give it to me.
Yeah. Roaring at you, which is out now, which is Jurassic World Rebirth.
Sure.
Which is out now. We have F1, the movie, which is already out now. Apparently, It's got reasonable reviews as well.
Sure.
We have Dexter is coming back as well, which comes out in the 11th. So we get Dexter Resurrection. So they're bringing Dexter back.
Seeing that a lot. Being advertised a shit ton.
Yeah, I mean, they did a spin-off as well, like a prequel of Dexter. I can't remember what it was called, First Blood or something or other. I think they did something.
That shit got so boring.
Yeah, kind of cool premise, but yeah.
Yeah, great premise. Just boring. After fucking 8 seasons, wherever it got to, like it got so boring.
And then the most overpowered superhero ever is coming back. Can James Gunn re-establish DC franchise in Superman? Superman comes out on the 11th.
Sure.
Yep. Then we have Pedro Pascal again, and I think Joaquin Phoenix in a movie together, and it's called Eddington.
Oh yeah, I actually want to see that. Dude, because Pascal's got 2 movies coming out this month.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And with Joaquin Phoenix as well. Like that's a heavy
big
lineup.
cast. Yeah.
Emma Stone's in it as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Luke Grimes. What was Luke Grimes in? He looks
good old Grimy.
Grimes. He reminds. What were you in, Grimes?
Like Yellowstone.
7, Yellowstone.
True Blood.
Maybe that's...
Yeah, sure. Don't really know him, but...
No. And then we've got the... I'm not sure there's a remake, but it's the carry on of the IP I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes, I'm excited.
Haven't really followed much along, but is that a continuation or is it
that's the discussion
reboot?
Because the trailer makes it feel like it's a reboot because it feels like almost a shot for shot trailer, but it does still star Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr., which obviously from the original. So it can't be a remake or reboot. I'm guessing it's a sequel of some description, but I don't know. That's the discussion at the moment. Like, people aren't really sure what it's going to be. I'm assuming it's more going to be a sequel, but they're using the original trailer as like nostalgia hype, which is fine.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, I'm keen for that. July 17th, I'm down.
Yep. Then we've got the one I'm hoping that they do really well, which is another Pedro Pascal starring, which is the Fantastic Four, which comes out on the 25th. Oh, God, I hope they do this well.
Yeah, sure.
The Fantastic Four have been terrible. They've been terrible. And then a movie that we have been talking about because we couldn't remember when it came out. It is Happy Gilmore 2, coming out on the 25th.
All right.
So again, I hope that goes all right.
Sure. I want to review it because I'm genuinely curious how it's going to be. I love the first Happy Gilmore. It's probably my favorite Adam Sandler film.
Yeah. And then we've got Together, which looks very interesting based off the trailer I saw, which is Dave Franco is in that one.
Whatever.
Yeah. And that's it for July. I reckon that's it for July. That's pretty that's it.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
a pretty solid
it's
lineup
a lot, though.
for
That's
July.
A lot, yeah. August, though, just early August, I just saw it on the list. Freakier Friday comes out. That came out of nowhere. I mean, it's been talked about for a long time, but I didn't really know it was so soon.
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan
also,
and
Naked Gun is on the 1st as well.
Naked Gun?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't come out in Australia until the 21st.
In theatres, August 1st.
That's not what Event Cinema says.
Well, then, that's what IMDb says. And then we get Alien Earth in August as well.
Oh, yeah. Not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, so interesting lineup. I'm kind of keen for it.
Give it to me.
But a continuation of a franchise, which is your pick of the week.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've watched it. I haven't finished it 3 times, but I've watched it 3 times.
How?
I'm looking forward to it
Just
like being properly released on like streaming services and stuff, so I can properly watch it again. Yeah. Not like the dodgy versions that I watch.
Yeah. Did you watch the original 2 before watching this again?
I haven't seen Weeks Later. I thought I did, and then I watched like things you got to know before watching 28 years later, and I realized I hadn't seen Weeks. But which is fine because they've more or less retconned Weeks anyway, because a lot of the things in this sort of undo Weeks. Because Weeks had a different writer, different director as well. A different writer? Just different director? I forget which one.
I don't know.
But this is in their mind. I forget the names of the 2 who originally did it, Alex Garland and Danny Boyle. In their mind, this is the sequel to 28 Days Later. The original, yeah. They had a falling out, supposedly.
I was going to say, why didn't they?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I heard about it on like a TikTok video and then I've forgotten the details, but they had like a big falling out and they stopped making movies together, and this is their first like come back together movie. And He was the writer for the reboot of Devil May Cry. Alex Garland. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The reboot was good. It's just they went too realistic with like their character models, I guess.
Sure.
It was a really good game. Yeah.
Everyone always talks about Annihilation being one of his best, which is good. We watched Civil War, you and I. We really liked that.
I've watched Men. That was unique.
Sure, I haven't seen Men.
Yeah, it's unique.
And
it's
Dredd.
Interesting.
Dredd is fucking awesome. The 2012 Judge Dredd movie. Oh my God, that movie's so sick. But yeah, so this 28 years later, it is more or less the sequel of 28 Days Later. The original was shot back in 2001? Two? Sure, I should look this up. With Cillian Murphy, it was like early Cillian's career. It was shot really low budget. It also has some low budget stuff I'll talk about in a second as well, but this obviously is, they're successful by now, especially Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle's had a big career since 28 Days Later. Slumdog Millionaire, of course. Trainspotting, 127 Hours, which did pretty well. Point is, man knows how to make movies. This is another, it's not zombies, but for all intents and purposes, I'll say zombie movie. They're not technically zombies, but, they might as well be.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So this is set in Great Britain, so, Ireland and Scotland and stuff included, in a world where 28 years ago, there was an apocalypse where a monkey was released from a testing facility by some activists and had the rage virus, and the rage virus swept the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom more or less went into an apocalypse. We found out in this one that the rest of the world's all fine. At the end of weeks later, we see him go to France. We see people fighting in the US against the rage virus zombies, but they retcon that. Now, in this, they basically said the rest of the world has quarantined the UK. And the UK is, this separate little isolated islands. They have boats patrolling it and shit, making sure that the zombies don't get anywhere else. It does raise some questions, but we're going to glance over it for the sake of the movie. This film centers around a lad called Spike. The first 40 minutes is him and his father. So he lives on this island, I forget what it's called, and there's only when the tide is low, there's a bridge they can walk across, more or less, they call it. I feel there's a name for it, but as a real thing, supposedly this island really exists, and it does actually do that. So he gets his son. He does it he's 12 years old, but usually they're 14 or 15 when they do this sort of rite of passage. But he and his father, Spike and his father, Jamie, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who we've seen a fair bit on this show and our previous show.
He was the hunter, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's kick-ass, which is such a weird sort of segue, but But he's in Fall Guy and Bullet Train. It's a lot of good stuff.
The island, I have no idea how to pronounce, but it translates to Holy Island. Lindisfarne.
Supposedly there's, it's one of those islands that was one of the first, when Vikings first went west and headed towards the UK, that was one of those first islands that was attacked. It used to have a monastery or a temple there of some sort of Jesus worship place there, but was attacked, and anyway, it's irrelevant. But there are talks of Vikings in this because they do meet a guy called Eric who is from Norway, I forget. Anyway. Norway. So this boy and his father, they go out to the mainland where the zombies live and they go hunting. And the whole thing is about, he and his dad sort of bonding over killing zombies together. And you think for a while that Jamie's a pretty good father, and that, there's a scene where they get trapped in a building and they're hiding from the zombies. And Spike's Dad, I'm sorry I missed so much. I'm sorry I'm bad at this. No, you did great, son. You did great. I've seen adults miss more than that. You did great. So he's really nurturing and he's a good father. But then after their whole expedition, which is the first 40 minutes, maybe less, maybe 30, they go back to their island, and Jamie, the father, is they'll have this celebration dinner, drink up, whatever. And Jamie's singing the praise of his son and telling the stories, and he's embellishing and he's lying. And Spike you can tell he's a bit of a conscience, and he's Dad, that's not how it happened. And he's no, the boy's being humble. He's a killer. He's a giant killer. All this shit. Even though he killed one zombie, which was pretty much stationary.
I think he killed two, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that. But so you start to see all the cracks in his father. In the same night, you also see his father go off and sleep with a girl. And I forgot to mention, but back home, Spike's mother, she's losing it. She's not well in the head. She's been, my lights are like fucking up. Sorry. She's been like, almost feels like she
terminally ill.
Yeah, has like dementia. She's forgetful. She has like moments of like her own little rage, and she forgets that it's like the apocalypse. She mentions like, get me Nurofen, and Spike's like, what the fuck's Nurofen? Ibuprofen, she says. Anyway, so Spike starts to realize that his dad's a piece of shit and he's a liar, and you know, he's been raised as this like, Spike is raised as this like killer, where that's what Jamie wants him to be, but that's not really who Spike is on the inside, how he sees himself. So, they're not plugged in. Hold up. Just realized my fucking light isn't plugged in. That's why it's gone all dim. Professional. All right, that's a bit better.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, that's good.
So, Spike hears through other people, and his dad lied to him, that there's a doctor back on the mainland. And he's like, well, there's no doctors here in our little commune. So we're going to get Mum, we're going to cross the bridge, and we're going to find this doctor. The doctor can fix Mum, or at least give us some answers. So he runs away from his dad. He starts a fire so that the bridge is sort of unmanned, and he and his mother get across and hide. And Spike, Jamie doesn't really know where he is, but it's never really explained. Doesn't go looking for him yet. So then the whole story from then on is like, we see Spike and his mother trying to get to the doctor.
It's pretty much a melodrama from here.
A melodrama?
Yeah, it's much just it's a drama about people. It was more about the relationship between like...
Yes. It's not melodramatic, but yes.
Well, I feel like it was. It was like the whole memento mori. It was like,
yeah.
Remember, we must die.
Yes. Maybe. Yeah, exactly right. And it does, like, that's sort of what I love about 28 Days Later too. Is I was trying to explain this to somebody else the other day. It's not a zombie movie because the zombies aren't the plot. The zombies are a plot device. They force things to happen and they set up the world, but it's not like a typical like, run from the zombies and hide and escape and survive movie. There are moments of that, of course, but you know, it's more about humans are the real monsters, which we'll sort of get to. So the whole time he's traveling with his mum, his mother is like, she's getting less and less lucid. She starts calling Spike starts calling Spike dad. And she regresses into being a child, and she starts to treat Spike like her father. And she asks a really important question, which is like, is your dad silly with you? My dad was always silly with me. Because a big commentary in this movie is how men and women are raised differently, and how fathers in particular treat their sons and how fathers treat their daughters. Typically, I'm not saying every family, but typically. Or in this world anyway. His name is Spike. Like his father named him Spike. It's like an aggressive word, you know. He wants to raise a killer. Anyway, so they finally reach the doctor, who is Ralph Fiennes, who is barely recognizable at first. He's covered in iodine. Looks like blood.
So dumb.
Why?
No.
Why?
Because the virus doesn't like iodine. What?
Why not? They can make whatever rules they want.
Oh, I know, but it was just dumb.
Well, they have to explain why a pacifist is able to live so long out there without killing. He hasn't killed a single zombie, really.
I understand the reason why, but it was just dumb.
Yeah. That's one thing I've heard online people complaining about is like, how has he survived so long? It's like, they sort of explain it, but I don't know, I get it. There are holes. It seems a bit silly, like it seems sort of half-handed. And Ralph has built this like monument to the dead. And his whole thing is that like, infected or not, especially as from a doctor's perspective, infected or not, they are human. And everyone who's died, everyone whose skulls on this, he's got this big fucking, which you'll see in the, I'll put it actually probably more likely it'll be behind me on the thumbnail anyway. But there's this big like tower of skulls, and he says like every skull here has had thoughts. every eye socket has seen a life, and every jaw has spoken words and eaten, or whatever he says, something like that. You know, everyone's had experiences, whether they're zombies or not. And as you said, he has memento mori, which is like, remember you will die, or remember to die, or whatever the translation is directly. And his whole thing is about life and death, and this whole movie explores that as well. Anyway, doctor, through just like a physical examination, determines that the mother has breast cancer. She doesn't long to live anyway. And they talk about like, everyone's going to die, so you're better off choosing your death than being like it chosen for you. There's such thing as a justified death. They
also find a baby.
Yes, yes, you're right. They find a which is also another big thing. But they find a baby. They find a infected woman giving birth, and the baby is born and it's not infected. And Ralph Fiennes, the doctor, says the magic of the placenta, which is also kind of silly. But
which we assume is the alpha's child.
Yeah, because the alpha like tries to protect it and stuff. So, which also like lays the seed of a couple things. If the placenta can keep a baby from being turned, then there must be some sort of cure out there involving placenta. And if the fucking if infected can get pregnant, then are they out there like breeding? Are they creating more infected?
I assume so. That's what they kind of set up, where it was like the alpha is bigger, stronger, smarter. It seemed like, rather than like it was in 28 Days Later, where they were just like mad, manic, sort of like the virus was in full swing, where it seemed to have evolved over the 28 years into somewhat their own community, I guess. Because they seemed like coordinated and stuff, rather than just your typical zombie hordes running at you. It was like reasonably coordinated, and they seem to communicate in
there's different
whatever.
There's different types of zombies now too. There's the ones that just sort of crawl around on the ground. They're over like bloated. They eat all worms and shit. And there's like the fast ones, and I like that they're naked, because I think it makes sense that zombies after 28 years wouldn't have clothes anymore. They'd be like dragging along the ground and ripping each other to pieces. I love that there's a big swinging knob in this, because so many horror movies are like girls with big boobs running around, and now it's like all the men get to feel uncomfortable with a big swinging knob in their faces. It's great. So
there's some very dry humor in places as well, especially when we meet the
Eric.
Yeah. What was he? Was he Swedish or was he Norwegian? Or
I think Swedish. Actually, Swedish might be correct. Actually, yeah.
There was some really like, well, I don't know. You're kind of setting up for this dark, gloomy, like man versus zombie sort of. Would you call it dystopian sort of? I don't know. Whatever ravished world horror-esque franchise where the human populace is in their little hidey holes. And it was like kind of like, you got to survive. And then we get this like, oh, no, you guys are quarantined against the rest of the world, and here's some humor, which was different in terms of setting the mood.
It was. But I liked it because it resettles the fact that the rest of the world has gone on living. The rest of the world has got phones, and they're going out clubbing, and they're living, Oh,
that's right. He was like, check out my girlfriend.
Check out my girlfriend. What's wrong with her face? Which I think's great. And there's no stranger bedfellows than horror and comedy. So I think, as most comedies, a lot of horrors do well in, is have those where most horrors do well in, have those comedy elements. I think it heightens both ends of the scale.
Yeah.
So his mother dies. He puts her skull on top of this podium. He names the child that's born after his mother, Isla, which intentionally is Island. And he takes this child back, tells the father with a note, this you're gonna raise this child. Her name is Isla, which again is all about like, you know, raising daughters versus, it's sort of like a guilt thing for him too, because you fucked up raising me, do this better. And then he goes out and lives back in like the land with the zombies because he would rather live with the zombies than his cult. And
what
then
an ending.
Everyone, this is one of those like endings that I've heard people complain about heaps online. I think it's fucking awesome. Right at the beginning of the movie, we're set 28 years ago at the outbreak, and we have this kid called Jamie and a bunch of other kids watching Teletubbies in a room, and then zombies go ape shit and kill everyone, and this kid watches everyone get eaten apart. At the end of the movie, we have a guy, while Spike's getting chased by some zombies, this guy who, we've seen this guy a lot recently, actually, you know, in Sinners. Is it Jack O'Doyle? Is that his name? Anyway, I'll look it up later. I've forgotten his name already. But oversteps this guy with like long blonde hair and upside down cross and stuff. And we know it's the same person from the beginning. And he and his like crew, who all look similar in like tracksuits and long blonde hair, all jump over and like Power Rangers style kill these zombies. And it's awesome. It's such a fun scene. And he's like, hi, I'm Jamie.
All their names are wild, that crew. There's like Sir Jimmy Crystal, which is Jack O'Connell.
Yep.
O'Connell. Then there's yep. Jimmy Inc.
Yep.
Jimmy Shite.
Yep.
Jimmy Fox. Jimmy Jones. Jimmy Snake.
Yeah. So this world turned to shit, and he's modeled after Jimmy Savile. Do you know who Jimmy Savile is?
Off the top of my head.
Jimmy Savile was like this big fucking like English.
That makes sense.
In English years, he was like a show host and a comedian and on kids shows and all this stuff. He was like a big name in English like television. And it came out years later that he was like the world's worst fucking monster of a pedo and had like hundreds of victims.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the second article. He's It was like,
but in this world,
a British horror story.
Yeah, it's a whole doco. In this world, Jimmy Savile was never outed. So these people who, you know, he was a child watching fucking Teletubbies. I mean, he was probably like 10 to 12. When the world was torn to shit. So he's still stuck in that immature brain mindset of a kid. And that's sort of like what another thing they're touching on is like those who were in the world when it turned to shit, those who were alive during, you know, more or less the rapture, they're stuck. They're stuck in that world. That's why like the men never progress, never become anything but like toxic and gross. The women have their like role in society. That's why that cult is very like men do this, women do this. But people like Jack, who was a child, is still very much a child internally. And they fight like Power Rangers because these kids grew up watching Power Rangers. You know? Yeah. So I think it's a great ending. It bookends the movie perfectly. It sets up the sequel because they're doing a trilogy of 28 years later movies. They're doing 3 of them.
Okay.
And I think that...
I was going to say that they had to with that ending.
Yeah. It really sets up. And there's all these moments throughout. Like that's why I watched it a second time and really like liked it more, because there are all these moments that you're sort of clued in where Jamie has been or where Jamie is. There's like graffiti with him written on the wall, more or less like scripture, but like replacing Jesus with Jamie. There's a part at the beginning of the film where they find a man that's been like torn up and hung by his legs, but then was turned into a zombie after the fact. They could tell that based on, I don't know how they did it, but so there's all these little moments where like you see Jimmy has done things or influenced moments in the story, or they've had like run-ins with where Jimmy has been, and at the end you actually get to see him. And yeah, Jack O'Connell is fucking awesome. He was so good in Sinners. But yeah, I have a lot to say. This movie, just like 28 Days Later, has so much to say about society and about growing up and humans being monsters, and there's so many subtexts and like things they've pointed out. It's too much for me to even fucking talk about. Like, go watch a YouTube video of someone else smarter than me discussing it. I am obsessed with this. This has become, between Sinners, K-pop Demon Hunters, and this, it's like all I'm watching and reading about at the moment.
Yeah, right. Okay. Interesting. I didn't get into it as much as obviously you did. I thought the first hour was very, very good. Like, very captivating. The use of like the old school sort of low budget nod to like the first film, even like a little bit of Sam Raimi sort of like Evil Dead-esque like horror moments. We haven't discussed that
it's filmed on iPhones as well. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep, it's filmed on iPhones. Whole thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
iPhone 15 Pro Plus, whatever the fuck it is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It's pretty incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, right.
Even the archery moments where they're doing like flashbacks and they're showing some like, I guess, medieval-esque, like the archery shots of showing that.
Yep.
Thought that was awesome. There was parts where I was like,
boots, up, down again.
Although they kept showing all the masks, and I wanted more explanations on the masks, because I felt like
it's not really explained.
It was never fleshed out, but they spent enough time showing these symbols of the masks and like the blood coming down the eyes. I think
what that's doing is sort of planting seeds of the fact that their community is a little cult. Their community is like, has all these weird indoctrinations and like hierarchy systems, and they're more or less a cult. And by just like showing these little masks and stuff, and the kids sort of, they shoot the mask, because I think the way I saw it was like they had like a hatred of the mask because the mask was like hierarchy, and you know, kids always fight against the hierarchy of adults and stuff. But yeah, I think that's what it was there for, and I think it did enough to sort of plant those seeds. But I can see what you mean. Like, it would have been nice to sort of, you know, shown us some cult rituals and stuff.
Yeah, like I was expecting a little bit more on it, and like even the rituals that they have when a kid is at a certain age where they have to go out into the mainland and be shown and take their first like ritual passage or whatever, like shooting an infected or a zombie, whatever you want to call these, the mutated. But then like the first hour where it was seeing this civilization and seeing after 28 years that this civilization has been able to hold on to its like certain way of life, I really enjoyed seeing them surviving in this world. Sure. I got a little bit like eye rolly when they were like, it's an alpha. I was like, I was like, okay, we're in this like alpha phase. But
what's wrong with was really calling cool. It an alpha?
I just alpha and sigma and all that gets thrown around so much these days. I'm just overhearing the word.
Do you mean like toxic masculinity stuff?
Oh, just the words like alpha, sigma.
Like an alpha wolf is the biggest, strongest wolf. An alpha, any animal.
I understand that they use the correct terminology. I just heard it so much. I just thought it was like, let's.
What would you have preferred?
Monster.
They're all monsters.
Oh, but not. Apparently, they're all people.
Is it alpha? He's the roided up one. He's the strong one.
I get it. But again, why did he mutate so much?
Because they said that for some, it acted like a steroid. Roids, they say.
Yeah.
But again, they make up their own rules. The fact that they're not zombies, they can do what they want, which I'm okay with. But why are some big, strong fucking alphas and others are, you know, like these grotesque fucking blobs? But I guess it's like, you know, if I took roids, if 100 people in a room took roids, their bodies would all act differently, would they not?
What, testosterone?
Like would some people gain more muscle than others? Some people would get would there be different physiological effects, or would every single person have the same reaction to the same level of steroid?
You would have the exact same. Like some, your progesterone would plummet. Some, your body would put extra estrogen just to counterbalance it. Like there's bits and pieces that would come out. Yeah, like there would be some differences.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's what they're trying to get to. I don't know. But yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, but I guess they're consistent. They make up whatever rules they want. But yeah, that first hour, really, really enjoyed this film. I liked seeing that civilization. I liked the cinematography. I liked the direction they went. I liked the father and son of them bonding, and then even them coming back and having their celebrational rite of passage where it was Spike became a man or whatever you want to, the giant slayer.
Yeah.
But then once Spike and the mum went out and then they went to the doctor, I lost a lot of interest until the Jimmies came up, because it became less about the surviving in the world, and rather just became about the mother and son looking for a cure.
Exactly.
And I was like.
Interesting. When I rewatch it, the part that I'd look at my phone and care less about is the whole beginning section. As soon as it's him and his mum, I'm glued.
Yeah, right. Nah, it lost me heavily. I don't know what it was. I didn't connect with
you want an action movie?
No, it wasn't even the action movie. I enjoyed seeing the world, how the world had expanded and survived.
Sure. Yeah, I can understand that.
Even with The Last of Us, I really like the parts where they go into the little civilizations, and each of the civilizations are different. I like seeing how civilization adapts, how
society has changed. Has evolved because of it. Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. And even when they went into those different areas where some parts were just absolutely wiped and others were just left, and there was just decay everywhere. And then I would have liked to see. I'm really interested to see where the Jimmies have been living. Do they have their own little civilization? What have they been doing? Because we only got to see such a small area. We got to see that little community where they can only go in low tide, which is almost a perfect stopping point for stopping zombies, mutated, whatever.
Yeah.
But then I was I would like more of that. The world and experiencing the world. Obviously the rest of the world has gone on with their lives, but what has happened on the mainland, because we didn't really
that's fair,
see much of it.
You're right. And they're the parts, if I watch you've seen Book of Eli. I love the little world, the little city in Book of Eli. Even in the Fallout show, when they go to Junktown, whatever it's called, the little town they go to that has the shops and that. Yeah, that's a fair point. I like seeing all that stuff and seeing how society has adapted and accepted new roles.
Yeah, that's what I like. And I would like to see how they would go into a new place and be oh, you guys aren't quite as culty as we are, or this isn't the same.
And yeah, he's gone from one cult to the next, because obviously the Jimmy group is a very, very culty group.
Yeah, especially when you all have to look alike. And where are they getting all their tracksuits from?
Yeah, well,
are they in a factory? What's the? Somewhere there has to be in that area. There has to be another community.
Yeah, of course. There'd be pockets everywhere for sure, and they'd all have some sort of defense mechanism or set up inside. I imagine, especially in somewhere like the UK where there's castles and shit, there'd be castles around the place that probably have people living in them now. Rebuild some old fucking medieval castle wall and you're set.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm keen to see that.
Yeah, and they're the things I'm excited for as well. But there's so much subtext in this, and you mentioned filming on a phone and how there's these shots where arrows go through the head. It's kind of like the Matrix, where there's multiple cameras around in an arc, almost like a semicircle, and the shoots all in one. They do that with 15 iPhones, like just strapped to like wood, more or less.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in this that's really clever, and I think that they're posing a lot of questions and they're trying a lot of stuff out. Yeah, I really like it. This has become Sinners and this are probably my favorite 2 movies of the year so far for me.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Right.
Which surprises me too. Don't worry. But I really, really like this. And the more times I've seen it, that's why I was watching it again today. The more times, like more things I can notice and little like once you sort of understand the subtext around like masculinity and, you know, raising boys and raising girls and all that sort of stuff. Humans, the real monsters, all these little bits and pieces that just work. But the problems with it that I have, you do ask questions like how, like, yes, iodine has, you know, but it doesn't mean he's not going to be like chewed to pieces by the rage virus. They don't want to like come close to him and go, oh, iodine. Like that's not. So like there are questions that the show does sort of, the movie doesn't really answer, especially around Ralph Fiennes' character. But, you know, whatever. I'm okay with it.
I don't know.
Anyway.
What would you give it?
I'm honestly at a 4.5.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved it.
Wow, okay.
It's like maybe a 4 because there are things about it, but right now my obsession with it, it's a 4.5.
Oh, craziness. I'm at a 3. Like I really enjoyed it. I just lost interest for like 40 minutes.
Yeah, and that's honestly the main sort of. I'm hearing people either love it and are talking about it being one of the best movies of the year, or people are like, yeah, it was fine. Like, and giving it like 3s, which I understand. I understand the perspective. But yeah, for some reason, something with it, I connected. And that's what it sounds like a douchebag thing to say, but that's what art is. It's about individual connection to storytelling. And something about this really grabbed me. So,
okay.
Where I'm at.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it because I was surprised that you enjoyed it so much. I knew you were going to because you messaged me like, I've seen it 1.5 times. I was
halfway through it.
Here we go. But yeah.
Anyway,
well, then.
What was your pick this week? Because I need you to explain this.
Oh, God. All right, so my pick of the week is I want to say it's anime, but technically it's from...
Donghua?
Yeah, it's from China.
I think Donghua is the word.
I was going to say mangua or whatever, but I don't
That's
know.
Korean, I think.
Yeah. So I get confused at the best of times. But this is a show that heaps of people were talking about. I had never seen it. They said the art and the storytelling were on par with Full Metal Alchemist, one of the Brotherhood one. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm going to give this a go because I do like my anime. I'm just going to refer to it anime. Sorry, you elitists that know all the differences. So, my bad.
It's fine.
Yeah. It's got a Chinese name that I have no chance of pronouncing, Gomminzizu, which apparently the title, you were saying, complaining that it's wrong. It's Lord of Mystery.
Yeah, Lord of Mysteries, but
Mysteries.
If you look up the actual original, it's Lord of the Mysteries. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I got to say, I am shocked that they are releasing this episode by episode because if you watch just the first episode, you got no idea.
No,
I've watched the 3 episodes, and I feel like I still don't have a grasp of exactly what is happening.
Yeah,
it reminds me of was it Evangelion? Does a similar one to like where you're asking questions a lot. There was another anime that I watched, which was similar vein to Evangelion, which is like the whole mecha things, but it answered a couple of your questions. Like the first few episodes, you're like, what in the hell is going on? Then it would answer a couple, but then it would give you so many more. So it would be like super confusing.
Yeah.
But this is in the fogs of history and darkness, who was whispering when the grey fog falls? Who is whispering in the ear? The light still shines. The mystery has never been far away. Even the synopsis is extremely confusing.
Yeah, the whole thing. I honestly went and watched a YouTube video that explained it to me in more detail because I was so lost after the first two.
Yeah. So we are like the opening episode, the first, we are introduced to this Victorian era setting where people get powers from potions, and each of the different powers have different sequences or numbers attached to it, and I can't remember if it's higher or lower for the sequence.
You start sequence 9.
You start at sequence 9 and then you can actually get further.
And 1 is like godhood, more or less.
Yeah, and it continually shows this tree that continually flourishes out and builds, and I'm sure it has some symbolizing esque thing on it. But we're introduced to
Klein,
who has reincarnated or transversed into this body, who is not his body. We're led to believe it might be, but he obviously has reincarnated and come into this body.
But backwards, because he's from the future. He's from like a modern world where this is like Industrial Revolution.
And then it's like almost parallel universe though, isn't it, really?
Yeah, because he does say like, oh, this world is, has this and this. So yeah, it is. It's not time travel. It's like you say, it's more of like a different universe.
Yeah, because when we get to, he wakes up in this body, and then these people come in to investigate it because it looks like a homicide, which is all revolving around this strange notebook. And this notebook, for some reason, there's multiple different notebooks. No one really knows. These guys are investigating it, and their only lead is this guy because he has the pistol of the persons who had the notebook. Trying to unravel this in 3 episodes is extremely confusing.
You're not going to be able to explain it because they couldn't explain it in an hour and a half, so we don't have a fucking chance.
Yeah. So overall, the world is set up that he's come into this new parallel world. There's a mystery around this notebook, which for some reason gives these souls or demonic-esque things extra powers based on different classes. He gets indoctrinated into this secret society or secret police force called the Beholders.
No, the Beyonders are those with the powers. So even the bad guy, the clown that he fights, he was also a Beyonder. He was a seventh sequence Beyonder.
That's right. Yeah, there was a lot going on.
The whole first episode is like exposition dump, and it is so fucking confusing.
Right. But the art style I extremely enjoyed.
Yeah, it looks sick.
As the fight scenes go in, like the fight scene in episode 3.
Super cool.
Oh, good golly, that was incredible.
I can see why people compare it to Brotherhood.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
The powers are extremely interesting. I still don't have a full grasp on all the different sequences that they have. Each of the sequences, then each of the people have a different class that they can go in as well.
Yeah.
So our main guy, Klein, he picks to be a seeker.
Yep.
And the whole...
Seer.
The seer. The way that he goes to find this missing child who's been kidnapped, I really enjoyed. Like, it was cool power that he like embedded his rod or walking stick or whatever, and it was pointing and following. There's a whole mystery around the fortune teller at the start, because when she does the cards, she flips over the the fall, and then we get to see the clown. Apparently the clown is going to have a bigger role to play, because it was like, I know the next sequence is the clown or something or other, which is like the ending of episode 3 after that massive fight scene, which was so sick.
Yep.
It was so cool. But like, there's just so many things.
Pathways.
And it's just...
They're called?
Pathways.
Sorry, they're called pathways.
Right. Gotcha.
So there are a whole bunch of pathways. I think like 9 or 8, I think. 8 makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. And then depending on the pathway that they choose, people also react differently. So 2 different seers could have 2 different powers. Like they're still around the same sort of level, or same sort of like, you know, seer is about looking for stuff, but one could be looking into people and one could be looking for people or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to, I mean, look, as confused as I am, I'm actually like, I want to know more. I want to know more about different pathways and how I want to meet more people at like higher sequences and see what they can do and shit.
Yeah. There's even a whole nother realm that he goes into where he becomes essentially God. He seemed like he was the God of this universe, and he pulled these 2 other people in, which I don't know what role they're going to play, because he was like, I like the cat and mouse. It gave me vibes of Death Note, that sort of like cat and mouse. Like he wasn't sure what was going on, but he was like, tell me about this part. So he's like gathering, and like, I wonder how clever this guy actually is.
Yeah, he seems pretty he's pretty good at like problem solving. Because even in there, he's like, he didn't know what was happening, and he was still able to sort of command the room.
Yeah. So like, I'm so confused with the story, but I'm also like super captivated into it, because I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Because even got these secret artifacts where they had to like get special permission for them to use it, and it was this little like puppet that they were using, little, what do they call it, masquerade puppet thingo?
Yeah, like a marionette.
That was like, that thing was freaky.
Yeah, I think it was cool.
But like the powers are sick.
It's a 7062. Don't anyone get close to 7062. It's like, Jesus Christ. I have to read that every time.
Yeah. But this was wild. I don't even know how to explain the story, because
you can't. They couldn't.
No, but it's. I found it so captivating. I was like, I'm hooked in for that entire. They were longer than usual episodes. They were like half an hour a piece.
Yeah, like 35. Yeah.
Yeah, and the art style is incredible. I was like,
yes, it looks insane. It looks so good.
Yeah,
like that's undeniable.
But I don't know how to explain it to you. I couldn't even sell this to you.
It's so complex. There's so many different like organizations. Like we haven't even touched. I'm looking at a list now of organizations, and there are so many. We haven't even touched the fucking surface of how layered this show is.
God.
But so's Full Metal. You know, I think that Full Metal on the surface is kind of complex. But
that's true. But I think with Full Metal, I don't know, we came into it later, like after it had done its run. So like you could actually watch it further, or like in sequence. So like you continually got the story beats coming at you. You like were able to progress. Where this was the first when I started watching it, 2 episodes are out, and then the 3rd one came out a couple of days ago. Yeah, I think the next one comes out on the 11th, which is on Friday for us.
I think I'm also going to make more sense of it when it's in English.
Yeah. Just reading a few of it was like, I don't understand what that means.
It's absolute bombardment of information when you're also trying to read and then decipher the words. Like, it's, I felt like that made it harder. I'm also a dum-dum. I'm, slow at reading and all that, so I struggled.
But I don't know. I'm captivated by it. I'm like, I want to know what the hell's going on. I want to understand how he's going to get out of this, how the different demons are going to work, and who they're fighting against. Because the clown and the fool, and like we didn't get to see the other cards get flipped over. There's this whole carnival-esque thing that was never really explored because she was a fortune teller, but was technically not the fortune teller. Was just able to do it. And then you've got this overarching world where he's able to essentially be God, but he's gone back into a parallel universe. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
A lot.
I'm super confused, but I'm super intrigued.
Yeah, I think once it's out in bulk in English, I'll get back into it. But right now, it's too much to fucking wrap my head around. I don't even feel fair giving it a rating. Like I'm going to because I have to for the fucking, what we're doing. But it's so hard to say if I like it or not right now because I don't know what it is.
Right, yeah. That's fair.
But in terms of am I intrigued to want to watch more? Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So originally I was like, this is amazing, but I can't sell it to you. I can't really explain what the hell's going on, and I feel like giving it a 4 just based on my enjoyment is probably not super fair. So I'm gonna settle at 3.5.
No, do 4. Do 4.
Do 4. All right.
Do 4.
I'll settle at 4 because I'm keen for Friday. I'll watch Friday's one.
Yeah,
and I might even rewatch it when it comes into English because I don't understand what the hell is happening.
Yeah, like, am I gonna watch? That's the thing. I wanna know what happens. Am I wait for English? Because what will happen is I'll wait for English, but then I won't watch it. Like I'll wait for it, and then I'll forget, and then I'll be like, there was so many anime that I'm like, watch it when it comes out in English, and I just don't because we don't want other things. I just forget.
But then you also get intimidated by like
there's too much
seasons worse. Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Where if you wait for English, it would be like I don't know 12 episodes in or something, and you'll be like, nah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I should just watch this as it comes out. All right, you have to remind me when they get released, and I'll watch them. I'll watch the Chinese. It is a little jarring to hear Chinese when reading anime. I don't know what it is.
This would be the first one, I reckon, that we have watched in Chinese and subtitles.
I don't know how to put it. It feels a little odd to just hear a different language while I'm reading, even though I watch plenty of foreign stuff anyway. I'm a 3.5, which feels like, I don't know where I want to rate it, but like it's better than good.
Yeah.
But it's also like, it is a problem when you watch, let's say 2 episodes. The third, I think it starts to get more grounded and you're doing more like, mission by mission stuff. But in the first 2, when you're that confused for over an hour, that's a problem. Like you can't say it's amazing if I'm spending most of my time confused so far. But I also don't know what the alternative is. Like, how do you give all this backstory to the world without having to, give us that much exposition? Maybe start smaller. I don't know. Maybe the book. How does the book do it better though? Because the book must explain stuff in just as much complexities. I don't know. I don't read.
Maybe you move quicker in the. I don't know what the Chinese equivalent of manga is, but
no, it's a novel.
It's a novel.
Yeah, it's a novel. So I'm assuming that being a novel, it can explain stuff in more detail. Pardon me. And spend more time on ideas and different layers of exposition rather than because this is just a bombardment.
Yeah.
I also like that one episode has a post-credits scene, the other 2 don't. So after the second episode, I watched him get his little uniform, but then I went back to the first one thinking I missed something, but I didn't. And then after the third one, I was waiting for a scene and there wasn't either. So that was annoying. Anyway, 3.5's fair.
Okay.
For me. But I'm glad you gave it a 4, me 3.5. That means we actually draw this week. We're both 3.75.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There you go. So, okay, that's fair.
Yep. Unexciting, but, takes us into the final week next week? No. Potentially. If I win next week, then we go down to a tiebreaker for the first time ever.
I'm going to roar into next week and pick Jurassic World.
Of course you will.
Yeah.
And I'll pick fucking Superman or some shit.
You'll pick F1.
I don't want to watch F1. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I'll pick Smurfs. I'll pick Superman because I am curious to see how new Superman goes, to be honest.
Okay. I mean, James Gunn did really well with the Guardian of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Credit where it's due. And I don't dislike Superman. I love Smallville growing up. Like, there's lots of things. Superman for me isn't a hero that I think he's overpowered and stupid. The fact that there's just like his only weakness is this one little rock. It's dumb as hell. But I don't know. I kind of like Superman still. What can I say?
Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah, you know what to do. Listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating. And YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And tell your friends. Tell them all.
Tell your friends.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Love yous.